Big shout out to my man, Gary Heyer, in the studio with me, as always, my partner in crime. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of The Next 90 with Nick. And thank you to all my loyal Next 90 Nation followers. Like, the love has been overwhelming. And for those of you that are following me on Instagram, you're probably annoyed with how much I promote this podcast. But that's okay. There's a little button. Just go in and click on my picture and click unfollow if you don't find any of this content to be valuable. But if you're listening to this, then you probably find this content to be valuable. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at NickLong365. At NickLong365, also Facebook.com/NickLong365. You can see a little bit more of my personal life, my family life, and just the things that I like to do. And so I want to I want to come into more of the tactical, as we were talking about, and give you guys some things that you can actually take and start to apply into your life. It was so cool. I had the privilege of going to brunch for one of my friend's birthdays, and I saw my buddy Josh and his wife Tracy, and I hope that they're listening to this because you guys are going to be the inspiration behind this podcast. And Josh had sent me a text message, I think about a week or two ago. I was telling him about this podcast I was going to do. I was telling him about how it's kind of predicated off these 90-day challenges. And, you know, I didn't tell him any more than that. And I got a text message from Josh that, yo, I've been listening to the podcast. I just quit my job. And I literally, like, his name is Josh, but I thought he was joshing me. Like, him and I, like, we bust each other's balls going back and forth. And I thought he was literally joking about quitting his job. And so I just wrote back, laugh out loud, get it done, son. And I didn't text him anything because I thought he was just like, yo, Next 90 so cool. I quit my job. I did not expect it. Now, this guy has worked for a big company here in California for 15 years. 15 years he's been there, and he's been like fast tracked into management. And, you know, him and I were talking about like his entrepreneurial spirit. And I know that he had one because, you know, he had another venture that he was trying to push off the ground, but he had a full-time job at the same time. So anyway, apparently him and his wife, they binge listened. They binge listened to the Next 90 with Nick, which, like, that was just, if he just told me that, I would have been so stoked. So I see him at brunch and he goes, dude, I quit my job. And I'm like, yeah, that's so funny. He's like, no, I'm fucking serious. I quit my job. I'm like, wait a minute. What? He's like, yeah, I sent you a text message. I'm like, I thought you were joking. He's like, I kind of figured you, dick, because you just like put laugh out loud. I said, well, I thought you were joking about that. And he's like, no, I wasn't joking. I quit my job, and I took a job at a new place. And he's like, my wife and I binge listened to the Next 90, which I'm like, yes, like, I'm up there with Netflix right now. People are binge listening, not binge watching. They're binge listening, son. We're starting a whole new category called binge listening. So they binge listened, and then they started writing down like their targets, and they started kind of like looking at where they were and the things that I talked about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back, please, and start at the Origins podcast and work your way forward. They started writing down their targets. They started writing down the facts of their life, and they set some targets. And so that he realized that, like, he wasn't going to get to some of his targets with what he was currently doing. And he had this opportunity. It was a risk because he very comfortable, very, very good wage, like, had a lot of opportunity to climb up it. But him and his wife started looking at it. And even if he got promoted 4 times, he would not be where he could go if he took this other job, and you know, just the time freedom that he was going to have, and it really tied more into his entrepreneurial spirit. So I'm not going to really get like too into detail because I want to protect him and his privacy and all of this. And there's probably some of us in our inner circle that know him that will know who he is. But for the rest of you, it's just become Josh, right? Imagine you are Josh, and you get radically honest with yourself, and you write down the facts of where you are. You write down kind of where you want to go, and you look at setting some targets, and you see that, like, wow, I can't get there in this current capacity. And so he had to make some changes. And he took this risk, and I was speaking with his wife. She was so proud, just beaming with pride, a little bit nervous as well, but said, like, even if he would have got promoted within his own company that he was working for 15 years, it would probably take him another 2 to 3 years to get to where he's at right now. So I don't want to say I was 100% the catalyst of this, because, obviously it was festering in his mind, and, this opportunity, was out there, but he went after it. And because he heard some things here, it just changed his mindset, and it changed the way he looked at things. And he was able to make a decision and see that, wow, like, these things are standing in my way. And he left his job, and he got this job where he's going to be able to earn so much more, have time freedom to do all the things that he wants to do. So when I talk about how, like, just getting into this mindset and making a decision, that decision alone could radically have a paradigm shift in your life, and his trajectory has been completely changed. And so, just that decision alone, I told you can level up your life more in a 90-day period than you thought possible in 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 years. Now, in his case, from an income perspective and an opportunity perspective, he literally leapt up 4 or 5 rungs on the ladder. So he probably collapsed 2 to 3 years time. And I know this is going to open up so much growth for him, and it's going to present so many more opportunities, and he's going to have, multiple ways to produce income now. And it's going to change his life. And as a result of changing his life, it's going to change him and his wife's relationship, and probably enhance it even better than it is. It's going to give them, they love to travel. It's going to give them more opportunities. Those opportunities to travel is going to help him grow. And it just compounds over time. But one of the things that they told me was that they set some targets, and then they actually were able to achieve those targets fairly quickly. Obviously, I haven't been doing this for 90 days, so they got these targets done fairly quickly, which got me to thinking that I got to give you guys more tools to really set in on targets that are meaningful and that will take you where you want to go, but also aren't sandbagging. If you heard the episode on Wednesday, it dropped on Wednesday, episode 14 with Russ Perry, he talked about, like, it could be just as simple as taking a trip and not to overcomplicate it. And I do agree with that, but you also have to make it meaningful, that it's going to compel you forward and get you to that next rung on the ladder. So how do you set a target? Let's just break it down. Let's look at where you want to go in 12 weeks. And I'm going to just give you one example, because I want to simplify it, right? I want to simplify it for you guys and give you a real life example for me. So my wife and I, we've been married 4 years, and we got married on New Year's Eve of 2013, and we were pregnant like 10 days later on our honeymoon. And so we didn't really even have this kind of honeymoon phase, because we were pregnant, and we decided to go to Hawaii for Maui, specifically Kapalua. We love the montage up there. So we decided to go for our baby moon before our daughter was born. Now, here's my wife, I forget how many months pregnant, but visibly pregnant, visibly uncomfortable. And I'm like, vacation nation. And, for me, vacations used to be about disconnecting and, sedating and just like letting the world fall off my shoulders, as opposed to like a reset and to be able to like recalibrate and really think about where I want to go. So I went on this trip. She can't drink. I love to drink. I'm currently not drinking at the moment, but I love to drink, and so I'm just firing back cocktails, not thinking anything of it, not even really thinking about her. And this is prior to finding this challenge-based living, and prior to finding the Warriors Way and understanding how much balance means to me. So I'm firing back cocktails. I'm like Mr. Personable, and I love everybody. I'm buying people, drinks and conversation. As the day went on, I'm sure my conversation level like went down to like caveman status. Nick hungry, need cocktail and sleep. And so here's my wife wanting to be on vacation, wanting to connect, pregnant, like growing a human being inside her. I'm like, hey babe, what'd you do today? She's like, grew an eyeball. What did you do? I'm like, oh, I sent some emails, but I'm like sedating like crazy. And she didn't even say anything. That's how sweet my wife is. Like, we had our vacation, we had our trip. And then fast forward, I get into this have it all lifestyle, the Warriors Way. And I'm coming into a 90-day challenge, my first 90-day challenge. And my wife's like, "Hey, we're going to. I want to do Maui again. I want to make it a tradition for our baby moon." I'm like, "Cool." And I'm like, "I can't wait." And she's like, "I'm sure you can't. You drank yourself like silly last time." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't even realize." I'm like, "What a dick I am." And so my first challenge for balance, which is all about family, was I wanted to send her a text message every day for 90 days, letting her know how much I loved, honored, and appreciated her. So I wanted to do that, but I also wanted to go on this trip, and I wanted this trip to be meaningful, and I wanted a kind of a do-over. I wanted that do-over button, and I wanted to be connected to her, but I wanted her to know that like I was actually thoughtful about this whole process. So starting 90 days prior to the trip, my first 90-day challenge, I sent her a text message every single day. And then what I would do is I'd copy and paste that text message from the text to my notepad, and I'd put the date. And I did this every day. And, at first she thought it was weird. Like, why the hell is this guy sending me these text messages all the time? And then after a while, she really liked it. In the process of sending her this text message every day for 90 days, I every day found something that I loved and I appreciated about my wife. And it made me more physically attracted to her. It made me more emotionally connected to her. It made me less to anger. It made me quicker to hug and to love her, because I was reminding myself every day something I loved about her, and I was also telling her. And so at the end of 90 days, I've got 90 things, 90 different, and it was kind of a cool little like love journal of where we were at in that specific time. So now, come time for the trip, we get bumped up to first class, but only she does. And I say, "Hey, you're pregnant. Take the first class seat. I'll sit back in the cheap seats." And so, what I did was, and it was very simple. I went into my notes. I selected all. I copied. I put that into a Word document, and then I wrote her a letter. And I just said, "Hey, last time we were here, I know that I was disconnected. I want to be completely present for you. I want to bring this child into the world. And by the way, here's a recap of the last 90 days, and here's 90 things that I love about you." And I put it into a Word doc. I put it into an envelope, and I had the stewardess bring that note to my wife, and she read it. And she just melted. And like, we had the best trip. And actually on that trip, her and I went on this hike where we just talked about like what we wanted for our life. And it was because the 90 days of work, and because like I was committed to, one, remaining sober, and two, like every day reminding her something I loved about her, and then capturing that all in one singular outcome, which was to send it to her in the form of a love letter and a Word document. And also to be able to open up conversation with us later on in that trip. And we did. And we went on this hike, and we talked about where we wanted to go, where we wanted to be, how we saw our future. And it was because I was present, and I was also super open. And so was she, because of this love and this connection that we were exchanging, that we came up with some really cool shit. And we came up with this kind of life plan. And the cool thing is we're already hitting some of those things. So was that a hard thing to do? Well, kind of, like, to be consistent every single day for 90 days to send her a text message. It's not that physically hard, right? But to stay committed to that process, like, was difficult, because like, there's days where you're mad, there's days and this and that. And then to remain sober, that was easy. But like, but the outcome was like so transformative. Like, that 90-day period where I was just consistent in that opened up this whole world and opened up this whole conversation, and allowed me to see things through a different lens. Like, had I not done that, I probably would have just done the same thing, gone on the trip, had some cocktails, disconnected. Oh, happy day. Thank you for being pregnant. Now let's go have this baby, and let's go to a luau. But that's what I'm talking about, is these, like, you don't have to overthink the outcomes, but you have to do something that's meaningful and specific, and that's going to drive you forward. So that's an example of a balanced outcome. And you guys can take that like right now. Start today. Today actually is, let me just look. Today is April 11th. You're not listening to this on April 11th, but today is April 11th at 4:11 in the afternoon. Take that hack. Start sending your loved one a text message every single day, and find something that you love, honor, and or appreciate, or a combination of all those. Text message them. Copy and paste it to your notes, and do that every single day, but put the date that you sent it, and then highlight that all, put it into a Word doc, and at the end of 90 days, write them a nice little letter and just let them know how much you appreciate them. And then you come back and you tell me in 90 days if you're not more connected to your spouse, if you're not more connected to your children as a result of that. And now you've got this timepiece that's forever. And you as a human being will grow as a result. So that's it for today. That's a very kind of broken down 90-day outcome for balance. We've got some cool stuff coming down the pipe for you guys. Monday, this coming Monday. So this is episode 15. Episode 16 is going to be really special. I'm going to go a little bit longer than I normally do because I went to this conference called the Human Gathering. It was insane. Billionaires, millionaires, philanthropists, celebrities, athletes, Olympic gold medalists. It was so cool. I was amongst the 1% of the 1%. And I don't even know why I even belonged there. But I was there and I took copious notes, and I cannot wait to share with you my insights from that. So don't miss out on that episode. It's going to be episode 16. This is episode 15. Please take these hacks. Please make a decision. Please be like Josh. Don't Josh me and tell me you're going to do something and not. Be like Josh in the real world. Take action, make decision, jump the rungs of the world and get where you want in 90 days, quicker than you thought possible in 1 to 2 years. Head over to ownthenext90.com. I know people, the email will be up soon. Please bear with me. We did not expect this to take off as fast as it has. I'm sorry. It will be up. There's going to be the gap map. There's going to be real tactical stuff on the site. Bear with me. I will actually do an episode, and I'll let you know when it's physically live, but since this is evergreen, we always say, head over to ownthenext90.com, put your email in. We're going to send you tips and tricks to level up your life like no other in 90 days. So to Josh, to Tracy, to my boy D, who had a birthday, I love y'all. In the Next 90 Nation, make sure you own your next 90. I'm out.